Cryptocurrencies, blockchains, and smart contracts are absolutely fantastic tools for processing transactions in a secure, decentralized, and trustless way with limited counterparty risk. But unfortunately, they kind of live in a small little bubble that doesn't have access to real-world events or data. So, how can we pull in real-world data to the cryptocurrency world without introducing a centralized point of failure? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Hey everyone, and welcome back. This is the Part-Time Economist, and in today's video we're going to be taking a deep dive look into oracles. What are they? How do they work, and why do we need them? So the first thing I'd like you to do is completely forget about cryptocurrency altogether. Don't worry about smart contracts, don't worry about blockchains. Let's just think about data. Data influences basically everything that we do. You wake up and you see that it's going to rain, you grab your umbrella. You're thinking about taking a trip and realize the price of gas is $3,000 a gallon. You're probably not going to be taking that trip. You're thinking about retiring and you see that your stock portfolio has dropped significantly. You might be working a little bit longer. So the point I'm trying to make is we use data to make some kind of a decision. Now, the second thing that I want to think about is smart contracts. Now, if you're familiar with smart contracts, that's awesome. But if you've never heard of them, I want to explain how truly revolutionary they are with a little bit of an example. Let's suppose that me and my friend are betting on who's going to win the Super Bowl. And I ended up being correct, but my friend doesn't want to pay me the money that they said they were going to. Am I going to be able to get that money? Well, maybe I try and make them feel guilty. Maybe I talk to my other friends and say, hey, you need to talk to this person and tell them to give me my money. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a messy process. So let's suppose instead I say, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to give money to this third party. They're independent. We will both give our $20 to them. So now they have $40 and they'll just give it to whoever wins. But what if they are dishonest also? What if they just take both of our money and now neither of us has money? So something called a smart contract in cryptocurrency is so cool because it can automatically execute without a human intervention if certain conditions are true, right? So if I deposit $100 worth of Part-Time Economist tokens into this smart contract, it will give me back programmatically, right? So according to the code that it's written with, it will give me back some kind of an NFT. If I deposit that NFT, it will give me back cryptocurrency. So it can automatically do these things if certain conditions are true. So I don't have to depend on some third party flipping a switch. Unfortunately, it's relatively limited, right? It can't see real world data. So it knows if I send in an NFT, it knows if I deposit crypto, but it doesn't know who won the Super Bowl or who the president is or what the price of the stock market is. So what we want to do is find a way of pulling data into these smart contracts. So instead of just send an NFT, get crypto, maybe if the Steelers win the Super Bowl, I send crypto. If the price of Ethereum goes up, I buy Ethereum. We could think of all these things where we would want that automatic execution, but based on real world data and not just some kind of thing we programmed into the code that doesn't know what's going on in the real world. So how could we do this? Well, let's use a simple example. Let's suppose I want to sell all my Ethereum if the price gets to $10,000 because that's going to be a really nice profit for me. Well, how would I determine what even is the price of Ethereum? I could check CoinGecko, I could check any number of websites, but here we run into the problem. Remember that example where we had a third-party friend hold on to that money that we were betting for the Super Bowl? We're still trusting just one person. And what advantage does it give us if instead of trusting one person, we just trust Coinbase or we just trust Binance, right? We're still introducing a single point of failure. So what we want, and it's a tall order, we want to pull in data into these smart contracts, which again, the smart contracts, decentralized, trustless, lots of advantages. We want to pull in data that's in keeping with the spirit and ethos of cryptocurrency. So we don't want to just pull from one website. We want to pull from a decentralized, trustless network that's going to give us an honest result. How do we do that? That is where an oracle comes into play. An oracle is a decentralized aggregated data feed for smart contracts. So we're not just checking on a single website, right? We're, again, just like with cryptocurrency, it's a decentralized network that reaches consensus on transactions. An oracle is a decentralized network that reaches consensus on some kind of external information, right? So let's give an example here of how Chainlink works. Now, this is one of many different types of oracles. I'm not endorsing it. I'm not disendorsing it, but it is one of the best well-known, so it has a lot of documentation that makes it easy to understand. Let's go through this step by step and show why oracles are so awesome and efficient. So let's suppose my smart contract, again, we want to sell Ethereum if it gets to $10,000. Now, on my end, even if I'm operating completely trustworthy, doing my best, I might say, I'm going to check CoinGecko and I'm going to report that price as the price of Ethereum. But what if CoinGecko is a little bit behind? What if their systems are down? Or what if they've been hacked and someone is deliberately putting the wrong price? Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say, I'm not just checking CoinGecko. I'm going to check Uniswap. I'm going to check Kraken. I'm going to check Binance. I'm going to check CoinMarketCap. So even on my individual level, I'm checking multiple places. Now, on top of that, what if me, myself, I've checked multiple places and they're good, but something is wrong with my computer, something's wrong with my process, and I aggregate that data incorrectly. So what we really see is we need two levels of aggregation. The first, we've got an individual and they're going to check multiple different websites. Then we've got different individuals, their data is going to be aggregated. So I check 5 websites, I have 10 friends, and they each check 6 websites. Each of us has an aggregated price. So there's 6 aggregated prices that's probably based on 20 to 30 different websites. So we aggregate the websites, then we have each node that has its own kind of like aggregation, then we aggregate those for a final price. So the initial aggregation kind of overcomes a faulty website. The second aggregation overcomes a faulty node. So what we do then is we create kind of the final price of what this is going to be, and then that is fed into a smart contract. So what you can see is we've incorporated external data while still preserving the ethos of cryptocurrency, right? Relying on multiple nodes, acting independently and still reaching consensus. So we didn't just check one exchange and feed it into the price of a smart contract. We went through multiple steps to, and I don't want to say make sure because there's no necessarily guarantees, but we've done our best to make sure that we're getting an accurate price for that feed. Now, as with everything, there's going to be financial incentives. No one is just going to run their computer for nothing, right? It takes work to fetch these prices, aggregate them, and we would also want some kind of a system for preventing people from acting maliciously. So typically these oracles will have some kind of a token that's associated with them. Again, using the example of Chainlink, I'm saying again, not endorsing or disendorsing, it's just kind of information that's easy to find. Within Chainlink, you have to deposit a certain amount of their token to be able to run your node, right? So to be one of these people that's going and fetching those prices. Now, of course, what you're hoping is that you provide good prices and you get compensated. So if someone says, hey, I want to sell my Ethereum if it gets to $10,000, you're going to say, okay, I'll tell you what the price is, but you're going to have to pay me a little fee for my work. So you're incentivized to provide good information so that people use you. You're disincentivized from providing bad information because what you see here, if you provide answers that are different, that are off from what the consensus is, you can be penalized for that. So Chainlink here, what it does is it has a reputation system that nodes that don't provide good information, they are penalized. Their reputation score goes down. So there's an incentive because you have to lock up a certain amount of tokens to be able to provide these price feeds. If you don't be honest, you don't get access to those tokens and you don't get access to people paying you. So there's a strong incentive, of course, to act honestly. Now, just to kind of wrap everything up here, I do want to say that smart contracts are so revolutionary within cryptocurrency because they automatically execute without needing those third parties. But right now they are very limited, right? things such as release this payment over time, mint this token. But what we really want to move towards is being able to have these smart contracts trigger off real world data, right? So if this happens in the real world, I want you to do this on a smart contract. Now, I know we talked a lot about Chainlink, but I do want to reiterate, this is not an endorsement, it's not a disendorsement. There's lots of other types of oracles that may have slightly a different system. So you've got Provable, Band, API3, DIA, Witnet. You've got all of these different types of oracles, but more or less the goal is the same. Smart contracts are great at executing things without a trusted third party, without intervention. They're great at that, but they can't see into the real world. They don't know what's going on, so they need a trustable way of getting that information. They don't want to have all these smart contracts and all of this programming and be super secure and decentralized only to get a single point of failure where it's like, yeah, you were doing $1 million transaction and we just checked one place for the price of the cryptocurrency and their website was behind, so you lost all your money, right? We don't want to do that. We want to have these smart contracts that are really awesome at kind of resisting tampering, resisting interference, and we want the data feed that comes into that to be just as secure, just as reliable as the smart contracts themselves, which is why you see with these oracles, they themselves are decentralized, they aggregate data from multiple sources, and they have strong financial incentives to penalize nodes that provide wrong information. So that was kind of a beginner's level overview of oracles. I do hope you found the video useful. I appreciate you watching, and as always, if you got any other cryptocurrency questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. I can talk about how cryptocurrencies work. Can't really talk about any specific coins, but I'd be happy to answer a general quick crypto question. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.